For the second video, I'll be explaining to you guys how to code in Mindstorms and the different features of the Mindstorms app. Things like where you would be coding, or the other little buttons that you can press to complete different actions. And so now I'll be explaining to you how to connect to an FLL brick. And so I'll show you this quick video. How to connect and turn on the brick and connect it to a computer or whatever you're coding on. So first, you'll have to press the middle button on your brick, as you see right here. You press it and it'll start to turn red. And it'll be like that for about 20 to 45 seconds. And that shows it's turning on. And as you see here, it's flashing red, and on the brick it says starting. And so when it's about to turn on, there's no more light, and then it popped to green, like it just did, and you can see the whole screen right here. And so next, when you want to connect it to the brick, you can refresh, and when you refresh, it'll be searching for all the bricks that are in your area. And so it's still searching right now. This takes about 10 to 15 seconds. And see, since it's found our brick all access to in the Bluetooth section, we'll press the button. It's connecting right now. And it's connected since it's good. And if you want to, you can disconnect it and search for a different brick if you're trying to connect to a different robot, for example. And so that ends. And so now that was a video on how you would connect to an FLL brick. And so now, I'll be showing you guys what pseudocode is. And I'll be doing this before I actually explain how to code in LabVIEW. And so I'll first give you a bad example of pseudocode, and then a good one. And then you guys can infer on what it is before I tell you the definition. So the first student wrote, put peanut butter on the bread. So the teacher took the whole jar and put it on every slice of bread. Student 2 said, take bread and spread peanut butter on it. So the teacher spread peanut butter on the whole loaf. And finally, the third student said, take 2 slices of bread and spread peanut butter and jelly on them. So the teacher spread PB&J on both sides of both slices. Instead, to make the teacher correctly make a good PB&J sandwich, it would be like this. Take exactly 2 pieces of bread. Take one piece that is not covered with peanut butter on any side and use a knife to spread peanut butter on it. Take a second piece of bread that is not covered with jelly on any side and use a knife to spread jelly on that side. Place the jelly side and the peanut butter side together. Then put it on a plate and you've got a PB&J sandwich. And so now, what really is pseudocode? Well, pseudocode are instructions written for you to more easily understand your code. It's not the exact code that you might be using, but it is a pretty detailed outline. It's an easy way to share your ideas to others, and it can be changed or solidified whenever you want it to be. And so an example would be for when you're using an FLL, you could say move forward 10 rotations. And later on in this coding presentation, you'll understand what this means. Move the robot forward 10 rotations, then turn right to the mission. Complete mission, use curve turn to get back to base. And so next, how to code. So in Lego Mindstorms, you will, instead of writing every piece of code like you would envision your parents doing, you simply just have to put blocks together. This is called block coding. And to make them work, you have to put in the right inputs for it to all work flawlessly. When you make a string of this code, it's called a program. And if you have multiple programs, you can put it in a project. And now, this is going to be a quick video showing you how to code. how you would be coding in LabVIEW or EV3. So you would start off with the start block. And so LabVIEW uses block coding. So you can put different blocks together to make code, and you can change the code in this short 40-second video. This is how you would be coding in LabVIEW or EV3. So you would start off with the start block. And so LabVIEW uses block coding. So you can put different blocks together to make code, and you can change the different inputs. Like I can change the speed input from 50 to 60. Or I can change this mode so the motor doesn't go from rotations but to degrees. And so you can do many different things, and there's many different options to choose from loops to being able to code your sensors, using math blocks, etc. And so that was a short video on how to code. Next, I'll be showing you guys an overview of the menu. Things like the start button, the toolbar, canvas, hardware page, and the menu. So here's a quick video on what it looks like. Actually, never mind. I'll be first showing you what the menu is, then a video. So first, the menu is on the top left-hand corner, and it has the 4 buttons here: File, Edit, Tools, and Help. File has functions to save programs, Edit can undo mistakes, Tools can help edit and manage data, and finally Help has guides that can allow you to program better. And so this is the video on the menu. Edit, tools, and help, as I had said before. But right now, I'll just go deep in it and see its different features. So in File, its different functions are to create new projects and programs, and if you have the teacher edition and experiment, and it can also close, save, and print out different things that you need. In Edit, it can undo and redo, and cut, copy, and paste. And if you live in a different area, you can change your language. In Tools, it comes with things like editors, being able to make your own my blocks, updates, and your memory. And finally, in Help, it'll help you figure out how to code, and it's kind of like help when you go onto a new site. It'll help you navigate through it and understand what it's all about. So next is the hardware page. And so in the hardware page, there are mainly 2 different parts. And then there's a third final one that you won't use as much. And this is the first part. So you can, with these 3 buttons, you can either download a program and download and do run selected. And in this area, it'll show you if you're connected to the brick or not, and by which way, either USB, Wi-Fi, or Bluetooth. Next is port view. As you see here, it goes A to D and 1 to 4, showing the sensors and the motors. They can either show you the motor values up here or the sensor values. And this can be used so you can put inputs into your code based on the values you get. If you double tap the number or letter, it will reset the values, so you'll know the distance or the exact values that you'll be getting. And you can have up to 4 motors and 4 sensors. Page and port view. And it'll be going a little bit more in depth on the final and last page. That is not very necessary. Talking about the hardware page. So first, this is the first screen that you'll see. So it tells you which robot you're connected to, and that if you want to disconnect or refresh, see if there's any other robots around. And you can connect your robot through USB, Bluetooth, or Wi-Fi. And the robot that we're connected to right now, our robot, is connected through Bluetooth. You can also download a code, so it'll go to the robot brick. You can download and run, which means that after downloading that code to the brick, it'll run automatically. And finally, there's a run selected, where you can highlight a piece of your code and then run that section. Next is port view. And so, as I had said before, the ports A to D show motors, and the numeric ports 1 to 4 show sensors. And so these are our 4 sensors and 4 motors that we use. And they all display different values, the values that they're showing right now. If you press one button, it brings up something called a reset value. So the value just goes back to 0. And it can be good for measuring different things. So if I wanted to move forward a little bit, see, it goes back to 183. And I know that the difference from one point to another is 183 degrees. And so finally, there's this last page over here, which is not very important. It just says the brick that you're connected to, how you're connected, and how much storage or memory is left on your brick. Also, it tells you how to openly set up your Wi-Fi, to open up your memory browser, and your battery level. It's not as important as port view and this hardware page. And so next, the toolbar. So it has a bunch of little buttons that you'll be using, but they're not as, you'll be using them, but they're not as important as the menu or the hardware page. And I'll play this little video explaining their uses. So first, there is the program or experiment list. So when you open it up, it'll show you the different programs that you have and their properties. Next is you can either use select, which means that you can pick up pieces of code, or pan, which means that you can move around your screen. Next is comment, where it will open up a comment literally. Next is save project, where if you press it, that project will be saved in your files. Then there's undo and redo, basically meaning that you can undo a mistake that you did or redo something if you messed up. Then there's zoom in and zoom out. And there's reset zoom, so it'll go back to normal. And finally, there's this content editor. It's not very important, and you'll rarely use it, even if you do. And that's mainly it for the toolbar. That we've learned. We've learned the importance of pseudocode, why you should use it, how to code in LabVIEW, and finally, the different parts of the coding screen that you'll be using throughout your coding journey.